All right, guys, we haven't done this for a while, not since the beginning of the school year, but we got some new lessons now as we get into this algebra unit that will let us do some more of this flipping the classroom. So we're going to start a little bit today. We're in our algebra unit, of course. One of the things we're going to look at today, we got 3 objectives, but we're going to look at these last 2 in these videos. We're going to analyze an algebraic expression, and it's going to help us when we analyze it. It's going to help us making sure we're doing the order of operations correctly. And then we're also going to draw diagrams that are showing our algebraic expressions that we drew. And again, it should all help us with the order of operations. You're going to need your hardcover book and you're going to need your activity workbook. Okay, so I'm now in our not our activity workbook. I'm in our hardcover book on page 172. So make sure you go to, again, page 172 in the hardcover book. And on that page, and again, feel free to pause the video whenever you need to, reverse or rewind, whatever you want to do, fast forward, whatever you need to do to help you understand what's going on. But on page 172, it goes with the different steps that you're going to use or we're going to use to help us analyze the expression, and so that then in the future we can solve it with using our order of operations. So on page 172, we've got the order of operations. Again, we also have that in our classroom in our anchor chart. But we're going to analyze this expression, which is 7 times a minus 5 minus a to the second power. Okay, and there are 4 steps that we go through. Not all of them are going to be used all the time, but we want to go in this order, obviously, to analyze this equation. So the first thing we want to do is we want to look for parts of the expression inside the parentheses. And then you're supposed to circle them. So as we look at this expression here, there's only one inside the parentheses, and it's a minus 5. So they circled it in red. You don't have to do it in different colors. If it helps you to do it in different colors, you can do it in different colors. Step number 2 that they did for you too is to look for any powers, so that's exponents, and then circle them. Okay, so in this case it was circled in green. It was a to the second power, or a squared. Finally, step 3, look for multiplication and divisions, and as they appear from left to right. So don't just randomly pick multiplications and divisions. Make sure that you go from left to right, just like you do when you're reading any kind of text. So we've got a new color here. It's blue, and they decide to circle it in blue because we are multiplying 7 times whatever the answer is going to be in the future for a minus 5. Okay, and then step number 4 is to circle or look for any additions and subtractions, again from left to right. And if there are any, you're supposed to circle them. But if you look back at this example, everything is already circled. Yes, things are going to be subtracted, but they're already circled. So we do not circle them again. Okay? So as we finally get done, this is the expression that we analyzed. And again, this would help us when we would solve it, because it kind of tells us what to do first. We would start in the inward circle right there. We would solve that if we could. And then we would jump to exponents, but then we would also move over here and multiply 7 times a minus 5, whatever that is, and then subtract this part of the expression from this part. Okay? The other thing that it also helps us do is it helps us to see that there are 2 terms in this expression. So remember, an expression is when 2 parts are subtracted or added together. So this one has 2 terms, this one and this one, because they are being subtracted. Now you see the subtraction in here, but this is all together, as this circle shows us, with the multiplication. So this diagram now we could draw as I scroll down to the bottom. After we've analyzed it, we can do our expression. So we took out all the numbers from the 7 times a minus 5 minus a squared, and we just showed what the diagram of the analyzed expression looks like. So we have 2 terms, again here 2 terms, because they're being subtracted. Okay, the first term is a product, and that's the answer to a multiplication question. So if we jump up here to where we left off, that first blue circle is like this first circle here, and we're going to take this answer times that answer. And that's going to give us a product. And then we have another term right here, and that's going to be a power because it's got an exponent to the second power. So again, two terms. The first one's going to be a product. The second one is going to be a power. And again, you can read this all over. You can review this or rewind this and go back to see exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Then what we're going to do is we're going to flip over to the next page here in a different booklet, and we'll try one of these out. Now on this page, this is your activity workbook, and this is actually on page 98. So if you need to pause the video and open page 98, we can do that now. And we're going to analyze this expression, 18 divided by 2 plus 4 times p to the second power. Okay, and we'll go through the steps, and then later on we'll let you guys get some more practice at this, but that'll happen when we go at school. So I'm going to use different colors. You don't have to use different colors, but that's an option you can do if you want to. Again, you can write directly in your activity workbook. Now the first thing we want to do is obviously step 1, and we're going to look for parts of the expression that are in parentheses. As we look at this expression here, you don't see any parentheses. So leave it alone, jump to step 2. Look for powers. If they have any exponents or powers, circle them. And as we look at this, we see we do have one p to the second power. So I will circle that in purple. You can do whatever color you desire. All right, then let's move on to step number 3. Step number 3 says look for multiplications and divisions and do them from left to right. So as we look at this problem, we see 18 divided by 2. That's a division. Now we don't circle the division symbol, we circle the entire division portion. So 18 divided by 2. And again, by doing this so far, we know we have to do exponents as part of our order of operations, and we then need to divide, which would be the next step in this problem for solving it using the order of operations. Let's keep going. We're still on step 3. Look for multiplications and divisions. Well, we do have a multiplication. We're going to take 4 times whatever p squared is going to be. So I'm going to circle not the multiplication symbol, but the entire part. Okay? So we've got these two circles here. We got the 18 divided by 2 answer, which we would eventually do, and then the 4 times p squared, which we would eventually do. Okay? Finally, step 4, we look for additions and subtractions from left to right and circle any terms that are not already circled. Well, remember, terms are things that are going to be added or subtracted. Well, I'm looking and I see an addition symbol, but again, I don't circle the addition symbol. I circle things that are not already circled. Well, this is already taken care of. That's a term. And this one is already taken care of. And that's a term. So there we are. We're done with analyzing one expression. Okay, and then finally we can look at number 10, where we can then make the diagram from this expression. So if you see what they did here, okay, we can talk about how it's the same thing. So we have two terms here, and remember, a term is when we have two different parts or sections being added or subtracted, excuse me. So this part is being added to this part. So we have this whole term, 18 divided by 2, and this whole term. So again, here's my 18 divided by 2 term. That's a quotient because that's the answer to a division problem. And we have this term, which is the 4 times p squared. And when we multiply something, we get a product as an answer. So we analyzed it. We then looked at the diagram, and it means, or it shows the exact same thing. It shows how the problem is set up. What we're going to work on a little bit more tomorrow in class is we're going to let you guys have some practice doing some of these and doing some of these diagrams and analyzing them, okay, and being able to figure out how you would solve these using PEMDAS in the future.